and there it is in her full glory. I don't. Kara, and again, and we did a bit on the brunette ish
Yeah.
last week, so we're not going to belabor it. But the curls, I mean, the curls are
Yeah.
something.
It's been this is me. This is my hair, and but I straighten it most times, most days, but this is my hair.
This is it.
This is it.
There it is. Love it in
Yeah.
full glory.
Yeah, I was shocked too because my kids were like, "Mom, we love it." I didn't expect that. I thought they would be like, "We don't know you." But they weren't.
I
They
have to
weren't.
I
It
have
was
to
cute.
say, and another thing that Cara told me is no more talk about Taylor Swift. Okay, we're
Yeah.
not talking about Taylor Swift anymore. However, it was pointed out that there is in the Super Bowl another couple that has local connections. So I think this is fair game. So Olivia Culpo, who a lot of people know, Olivia Culpo, who is Miss Universe from some years back, and local connections because Madeline Culpo, of course, from Cantarella Dance and the rest. So she's engaged to a running back for the 49ers named Christian McCaffrey. Now, I don't follow football quite as much as other people, so a lot of other people may know who Christian McCaffrey is. Hey, look, I should know who he is, but there it is. So forget Taylor Swift, bringing aside, there's Olivia Culpo and Christian McCaffrey. There's the couple. They're in the Super Bowl, and there's a local connection.
It's
So
cool.
that's
Yeah.
what
When you said something about that, I was
that's
like,
cool.
John was asking me questions about Colpo, and I was Terpsichore, not Cantarella, so that's why I didn't know much about it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
there it is.
Yeah.
The world famous
Yes.
Olivia Culpo with Pittsfield connection. We did have a question over the break from someone in regard to our blendingness.
Yes.
So what is that question?
So, this is a question from a viewer on the challenges of co-parenting. This viewer says, I like for my kids to do fun things and take part in activities, play sports, go to camp, etc. However, my ex refuses to contribute to those activities. So, what happens is that if I don't pay for the whole activity, my kids are not able to do it and they'll miss out. What can you possibly do about that?
Get a
Well,
lawyer.
yeah,
Oh man, that's a tough one.
it is.
That is a
That
tough
is
one.
hard. That is hard.
Because how it's supposed to work, usually, how it's supposed to work is that you have an activity and then both the co-parents split the cost of it and
50-50.
50-50. But really, that's a great point. If someone isn't contributing and they say, "Well, I don't want to do this," then the person who's trying to do the right thing for the kids gets the whole shebang.
Yeah.
So they got to pay for the whole thing and
And
all
that
that.
happens more often than you'd think. And I think a lot of it too is, it takes time. I mean, I don't know how long they've been separated or divorced, but it does definitely take time in my experience because when you have a couple, it's usually someone who's angrier than the other or maybe more immature or not able to kind of see the forest through the trees and put the kids first. And so that's what you have until they're able to mature a little bit and see that it's not really about the other parent, it's about the kids.
I've seen some co-parenting, and they're the extreme where parents they have the Christmas pictures, the
Yeah.
holiday pictures, they're all together, and they're like, and I look at that, I'm like, wow, that is really amazing.
Yeah.
And George is nodding his head too. Is like I mean, how? But like, God bless. Like, wouldn't that be great to get there? But there's a whole spectrum.
Yes.
People who there's not a relationship, and then there's the whole thing where they're together. And so ideally, it'd be great for everyone to get there. But in an ideal world, at least you're agreeing to do what's best for the kids in
Yeah,
those
for sure.
situations. Blending,
Blending. It's
blending.
not easy, for sure.
So our friend Erica Nolan says hi, John and Cara. Hi, Erica.
Erica.
She was so great last week.
Yeah.
Soma says hi, guys. Linda Hormansky says hi, guys, and Jim Willis. Yo, hey, Jim. So George Shoemaker. Say it ain't so, George Shoemaker,
Oh,
our dear friend from Currency Coffee, who also, hey, listen, you have an interesting family
yeah.
setup. I mean, it's probably unconventional? Is that, yeah,
Well,
you're how would you describe it?
our family is, yeah, it's put together a little differently.
Mm,
There's my wife, my son, my daughter from the previous marriage. Uh, we're very fortunate to adopt our son when he was tiny. He was an infant. We met him when he was weeks old, and
mm,
so yeah, it's funny when we all look around at what's going on in our household when everybody's there. It's a situation where, yeah, it is. It is a blend. It's this, mixed bowl of nuts.
Yeah. Yeah.
A bowl of mixed nuts, how we want to put it. Yeah,
I
and
like that.
it, it's
Yeah.
I
just
like
it
that.
just it works. It just works.
Yeah, somehow it does.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it really epically doesn't, but most of the time it does work. And
Yeah,
so, but and being an adopting family,
yeah,
that's a process.
it is. But it gives you opportunities that you never thought possible. I myself, I'm adopted as well.
Mm,
So,
that's right. That's right. You told me about
yeah.
that.
So
Yeah.
having this, like I said, it is a very mixed family. Um, when we were approached by a family that was in they were taking foster kids since the 1960s.
Wow.
This family in Dalton, and we get a phone call not long after our son was born, and my wife answers the phone, and she hears, "So, do you want a baby?"
Ah.
Mm.
And the answer is never no. It's always
Right.
yes.
It's hard not to say
Yeah.
yes to a
Well,
baby.
no, you can't.
Right.
You can't. Look, for all the things going on in the world today, somebody says, "I have a baby," yes or no. In your heart, you have to think about it and go, "Wait a minute. Is there a reason this is happening?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if there is, how dare I say no?
Right.
Yeah, that's a
Right.
good point. Well, it's
Yeah.
interesting because we were just at Market 32 yesterday,
Mhm.
and Car and I, we have conversations, and we heard a baby crying, and we're like, okay, so we're not, and like kind of like one of those blood curdling
Yeah.
screams, the kind that
In
aren't
the
fun,
checkout.
not not the nice ones,
Yeah.
the really kind of irritating ones.
Hmm.
And we both looked at each other, and we were like, yeah, we're good,
We're good.
but I know there's a but. You can
Yeah.
finish the. I mean,
Yeah.
listen, like George said.
But if it happened, it happened. And we always say,
Right.
we imagine, I wonder that baby would be pretty cute, you know?
Ah,
Pretty cute. That baby would be pretty cute. But
Maybe the baby
but
would have curls.
maybe.
Maybe
with any
she
luck. With any luck.
And speaking of babies, Currency Coffee
Yeah.
is also George's baby. And so listen,
Yeah.
I, I, there's no doubt that your brand is loved, that shop is
Mhm.
loved, that everything that you've done. I am a loyal customer
Mhm.
over the years, and I've had such a great experience there. So seeing it, I mean, we've had conversations, so I wasn't
Mhm.
utterly shocked, but there are some really ironclad reasons behind you heading
Yeah.
down to Sarasota and
Yeah.
continuing the business there
Yes.
as opposed to continuing operations here in Pittsfield. So let's unpack it, baby. Let's unpack it.
Oh,
So
geez.
so tell me about this decision.
Okay, so for those that know me personally or know the business, I've been traveling down to Sarasota for the better part of a year and a half. And we've been doing this exploratory journey, trying to find locations and what would actually work for us to go down to Florida.
Mhm.
Mm,
And my friend Vic down there, we partnered up. And last summer, we began to really lock down locations. We got our building really this fall, and the original plan was actually not to leave. We had good staff, I had great people working there, and the plan was for me to excuse me, to run both, have our general manager here, have things prepped here, shipped there, and work it that way. And the plan was hatched, and it was looking like it was going to work. But you know what? Life throws your curveballs. My
And
GM,
sliders. And
yeah,
change-ups.
and knuckleballs. But now, my GM, she wanted to take a different opportunity, and I told her, I said, best of luck,
Mm,
go. When someone's with you 4.5 years, yes, you have a great relationship and you build this and you hope it works in the long run, but we all know things change. So she left, fine. And that's when I made the decision. If we're going to do this in Florida, either I do or I do not. I
There is
can't
no
run
try.
both. Yeah. Yes, Daniel-san. There is no try.
Well, I think that's a Yoda-ism.
Yes.
Just to be
Well,
accurate.
you're
But
right. I think of the other Mr. Miyagi quote from Karate Kid. You're right. Yes, Luke, there is no try. So I made up my mind in November that I can't do both personally. But we didn't have all the locations locked down. And then we finally did. So we're going to have our cafe downtown Sarasota, right in the middle of downtown, a block from the courthouse, a block from there's these huge, 15-story Wells Fargo Tower. We're in the center of it all.
Mm,
In the center of a city that went from 50 to almost 75,000 in 5 years.
Yeah.
And the age dropped 5 years on average.
yeah.
That's huge.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
to drop a population's age a year
Mm-hmm.
is a lot. Never mind 5. So we're in the middle of it all. And that's where the cafe is. Then we have our roastery and tasting lounge, which will be a little bit further north in the Northgate community in Sarasota. And they're both going to be operational within 3 to 4 months.
Wow, that's exciting.
It's going to go fast. We've had our permits, construction is going, we're closing up walls, we're putting in ceilings and floors, and it's happening as we're talking.
Mhm.
Which meant that we had to give our notices. We had to let everybody know, because as much as I would love to give the staff 2-3 months notice, it wasn't going to be possible just because of everything else happening.
Mm.
And all of our friends here in Pittsfield know that when you decide to do something in business and you have change of zoning, codes and planning and all this, it takes time.
Yep.
Where we had a change of use done in less than 3 days.
In Sarasota.
Yes.
Wow.
I mean,
My
and
God.
there's your business friendliness right there. Not going to get on my soapbox, and
I will.
but you will. And Carla Prendergast says hi, you too, and George. Soma says, George, you are an incredible person. No more babies for me.
Come on, having a newborn at 45 was fun.
And Nat Romano says to Kara, asking, we did say that those curls are natural.
Yes.
Now, but she's asking, are the curls natural?
Oh yeah, totally natural.
Yeah.
Natural. John's mom Bev asked me the other night, did you get a perm? I was like, no, I never, I think when I was real little, I don't know, maybe 7th grade, my curls weren't really like fully formed or whatever. So my mom got me a spiral perm to kind of even it out in 7th grade. And then it's just been like this ever since.
So there you go.
So they're natural.
And
Yep.
now does the city of Pittsfield tax you at a higher rate because of those curls?
I'm waiting.
We're waiting to get the bill. Are we waiting to get the bill? That's called a segue. That's called a segue. You like that?
I love it. That was beautiful. Seamless.
And everyone who comments on the live show is eligible for a bag of coffee from Currency Coffee.
Yeah, we're calling it dealer's choice. So come in, pick up.
That's right. Come on in. So that is that means something. But before we get into the business friendliness deeper, about the business aspect. So what you had done, so the retail side of things, the having coffee, having people go in, buy it from a barista, that was a relatively new phenomenon for your business. Relative, I mean, at least as far as like the when it looks at your cash flow.
Yeah.
Like that became a bigger piece of your revenue.
Yeah, 2022 was an okay year, but 23 it exploded. We changed corporate philosophies in 23 when we bought Dave out, and Dave was good for the company. He really was. He helped us grow to a certain point, and then we had to go to a different direction, and it worked out tremendously in our favor. People came in, they found us, and I was quoted in the local paper saying that, you know, if you want to look for the financial success of a business, what's the great formula you need? I know. Let's go in a basement in a strip mall in Pittsfield, Mass. Not necessarily what you would see at Wharton, but but that's what we did, and we
I
we
love
did our
that.
best,
I love it.
it's how we made our bones here. And we expanded, our wholesale to what we could. But yeah, people found us. The
Yeah.
community found us.
Well, you did a hell of a job marketing, and
Yes.
I think
And it's a great product.
so. When you
Right.
had
Yeah.
what was it, free coffee every Tuesday?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
like so that was like your there's a business term for that.
Loss leader.
Lead loss leader. Yeah, there you go. And so there's your generator. You call it a lead generator.
Yep.
That sort of thing. So now you're developing people who are getting simply used to walking down those steps or taking the elevator to get a
Mhm.
coffee because
Mhm.
they're gonna go in for that free coffee.
Yeah.
And now they've developed a relationship. Now they've developed a pattern. It was brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
It worked to a point.
Mhm.
So Allendale, we all know that Big Lots was there for years.
Mm-hmm.
And then Goodwill came in.
Mhm.
It changed the demographics a little bit of the area, but it still gave us great traffic.
Sure.
But when we went from free coffee Tuesday to free iced tea Tuesday in summertime, there was a small rebellion brewing.
No
And
kidding.
oh yeah,
Oh, wow.
pitchforks and torches. It was not necessarily what I would want to have happen, but we basically
Oh,
said,
no.
"You're complaining over free."
Yeah.
Okay,
I
that's
love
fine.
it.
That's fine. And I said, "No, this is
Classic.
what we're doing."
Mhm.
And then when it got cold, we brought the the free coffee back. And you know what? I would say half the people that come and get a free coffee, they don't buy anything.
Mm.
So what?
Yeah.
In the end, that wasn't the issue.
Right.
10 cups of coffee, yeah, okay, whatever. But
Mm.
we did see a lot of new faces because of it.
Mhm.
We saw a lot of new faces for a lot of reasons. Whether they found us on, Google or Apple Maps, whether they found us through, Yelp, or just walking by and somebody walking up with a cup of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where'd you get that? Oh, it's downstairs.
Mm.
Our friends at Mad Max always, when people are waiting for their stuff to be repaired.
Mhm.
I was talking with Scotty, he had all those great couches in Mad
Yep.
Max. Nobody sits in them. They come down to our place and they sit down there.
It's interesting. Because there was such a defined time period of the retail side of things.
Yeah.
Is that what
Yeah,
is
yes,
retail
cafe.
the
Yeah,
cafe, the appropriate way to describe it?
Yes.
It's really worth a good case study because in my mind, it was so successful. Now, I'm not looking at the P&L, okay?
Yeah.
I'm not looking at all of that. However, based on, our conversations and how it was going, like I really think that it's a nice case of a 3-year period?
Roughly.
3-year period of major success. I mean, so, and I think when most people look at a business closing from the outside, they see the headline, they're, kind of, well, geez, yeah, I guess they did. This wasn't a matter of you not succeeding. This is almost a situation where you're succeeding too much or you're doing too well, and the market that needs to help you grow
Mhm.
didn't exist because staffing had to be part of the issue. I mean, it really was because listen,
Yeah.
you literally took this step mainly because of staffing, really.
Partially, yeah. Well, it was
All right, partially. All
well,
right.
so
Well, you can,
all right, no, John, let's put it this way. When you lose somebody with 4 years of institutional knowledge into a small business, you have a very long road to get that back.
Yep.
So let's put that aside for a minute. When it comes to our staffing issues, and we do have them, never in our history have we had to close early for staffing until the past 30 days.
Mhm. Yeah.
Now, all of our friends, all the people we all know and we visit, we do business with, how many of them have closed in the past 4 years because of staffing problems?
Yeah.
A lot.
Yes.
And I held that to the highest degree possible, that we never closed.
Mhm.
No, we
Even if George was going to be there,
Oh, I did it. Yeah, I would stand
Yeah.
there and do it.
barista Inc.
Yep. But unfortunately, I can't be all things to all people anymore. And we do have too much to do. And today we closed at 11
Mm.
because and I have to say, I can't tell you how grateful I am for our customers, because when we announced that we're going to be moving to Sarasota, the online orders have just been incredible.
Mhm.
And I've been trying to tell people, we are still going to be shipping.
Yep.
We are open till the 18th. We're not cutting back. We're stocked, but not because it's like, hey, come on down to last. No,
Right.
no, that's not the point.
Yeah.
We're here to service our customers.
Right.
And when we're all done on the 18th, it gets boxed up, sent to Sarasota, and then we start shipping.
Mm.
Mhm.
So nothing changes. Actually, I had to go out to customers the other day. Some people walking in wanting 3 and 4 5-pound bags of coffee. And I'm like, no, you get one.
Yeah.
Because if you keep this up, no one else is going to have it this week. I have
Right.
to go roast more.
Right.
So I'm grateful.
Mm.
And and the only thing I had to laugh. So of course, people they comment on everything.
Mhm.
First one was, oh, I know.
Do
Listen,
they?
none of us have ever dealt with that.
Yeah.
One person goes, so when's the coffee going on sale?
Oh, geez.
I just put one word,
Oh,
never.
never.
Yeah.
And then
Never.
another local businessman sent me a public message saying, oh, so when are you gonna start selling all the equipment?
Oh, yeah.
I'm not.
No, you're bringing it to Sarasota.
We need
right?
everything and
Yeah.
then some. And that's also where I see people go, well, you're closing because it didn't work. No, it worked.
Yeah.
From the best of my judgment, that place hasn't hit 50% of its capabilities.
Mm.
The problem is from September to December, we had a great run of business.
Mhm.
Second week of January, gone.
Mhm.
We all have the doldrums. We know this business. Your family was in food service. You understand
Oh,
that.
yeah. Yeah.
However, this year wasn't the doldrums.
Mhm.
It's down.
Mhm.
I like before the show we were chatting. Businesses like mine, Worley's, these small suppliers to other industries, we're the canary in the coal mine. We know when it's getting
Yeah.
bad.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
the
And I hate
restaurants,
we hate to say it. We
Yeah.
don't want to be but
Oh.
that so and so you are the supplier
Mhm.
of other businesses.
Mhm.
And so when the supplier starts to have reduced business
Mhm.
on that B2B side,
Yep.
right, not the retail side, not the
Yes.
consumer side that way. That really is. So you're hitting the nail on the head. So I don't, maybe it's like worth a call like Worley's too, or some of
Yeah.
these other, but yeah, that's
It's not just business. It's okay. People are paying me net 30, which is hitting net 120 now.
Mhm.
Not because
Mhm.
they've never paid me before. They all have.
Mhm.
But now others are having more difficult times making those payments.
Right.
So this is a Berkshire problem.
Mhm.
This is a Berkshire to Pioneer Valley problem because we have customers all through that area. Western Mass, I know some people think it stops at Worcester, but Western Mass is having having an issue.
Yeah.
No one's addressing the bigger problems, and
Yep.
you have to start with the basics. Nobody is.
Well, one of the things that you said was number one, and by the way, Jocelyn Moody says best and only Berkshire spot for boba. We'll miss
Well, thank you.
your
Aw.
Ricky likes
I
boba.
didn't know you had boba.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Not know that. My son loves
I've
it.
had it for almost a year.
He loves the
Oh
boba.
my gosh. My mom probably knew that, I would say. My mom maybe took him in.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
she has.
She
Okay.
has.
Yeah.
Jackie Getz says, love the iced coffee pouches.
Ah,
So Medina Cole, I think, was chiming in. She's saying growing. So maybe she can clarify that comment because she mentioned that in the middle of our conversation. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly what she's referring to. And Trish Toscanio did comment saying best wishes for continued success in Sarasota, Florida. Love the coffee and the destination. Will continue to purchase this fantastic quality coffee. So there it is.
And my parents do go to Florida quite often. Sarasota, different places in Florida. So
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sure
well, there's a lot.
they'll find you when they come.
Oh yeah.
I think there is a higher than average Pittsfield ratio of individuals in Sarasota. I always go back to Sherman Baldwin, who was a radio personality, of course, a dear friend of mine for many years, and he's been running these boat cruises for years and years, like wildly successful down there. So I mean, hey, look, I think there's a lot of people listening saying, "Boy, we could go to Sarasota right now."
Well, today was 80 and sunny, so.
I mean, we love the skiing, but
Yeah.
boy, we could take Sarasota right now. So
Yeah.
and listen, none of us is getting younger. George, I'm not
Nope.
suggesting that where you are in your life or your
Yeah.
career or whatever, but sometimes you want to be in a warmer climate also.
Oh, nothing to do with the snow anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but listen, I like the Berkshires. I grew up in Schenectady, New York. Okay, not the warm climate of the world. Then I went to school at Syracuse. Again, a little bit of
Right.
snow. Lived in Vermont for a bit, but then
Then you went to Antarctica.
I remember my first year at Syracuse, it snowed for 40 straight days.
Oh my
God.
Yeah, well, they just got done with a 45 days stretch of no sun.
Oh,
That's not uncommon there. I mean, then again, I think we went through like 30 some odd
Yeah.
days.
yeah.
And that is why you have to have. Whoa. Okay, so all right, real quickly, we'll take George out of this because
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta tell you, my mom is wearing that patch,
Yes.
and her energy is up and everything, and so it's the.
Life Wave light therapy patches. I have to
I'm-
say,
I have to say because
it's just amazing.
it's a shameless plug
yeah,
portion of the
They're
Yes,
amazing.
absolutely.
Honestly,
of the
I
program.
have energy after school, after teaching all day. I used to come home and like the jammies went on and I was pretty much down for the count. Now I can go grocery shopping. I can make a pot roast, do everything.
It's all
feels
about the
good.
pot roast. It's all about the pot roast. So if you're interested in those patches, get a hold of Cara.
Yes.
But yeah,
Try them out. You got to
and
try them.
everyone who comments and comments coming in is eligible for a bag of coffee from Currency Coffee. You take your pick on which kind. Mine is the Peruvian. Is my favorite at the light roast. But there are many wonderful blends, and then also one of Soma Aroma's candles. Also for those who comment on the show, and then also for our private group, we're gonna have a little Park Lane jewelry
Yeah.
for our friends in the private group. But yeah, Sarasota. It's
Yeah, it's
it's nice this time of year.
it is. Actually, it was so a couple weekends ago when it was below zero. My son's on one of the local ski racing teams, and Brenda was at a race. It was like -4 that morning. It was brutal. And of course, I was complaining too because it was 44 degrees in Sarasota and iguanas were falling from the trees.
That. My cousin lives in Florida. Michelle, if
Yeah.
you're listening, oh my gosh, she talks about that.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
what do you mean they were falling from the
They
tree?
literally fall from the trees.
Ah.
It gets so cold, they like hibernate.
Oh, it's because of the
Yes.
temperature. So
Yeah.
they kind of
And they literally go to sleep and they just drop.
Oh,
Yeah, it's something that if you
do they survive it?
They do.
Oh, okay.
They
So
wake up and it warms
they're-
up, but
yeah, okay.
yeah.
that's something. I've never experienced that. I mean, I've been to Disney
Yeah.
when we went in 2011. When we had the restaurant, we closed for New Year's, and we went there and it was record low temperatures in Orlando. And overnight, the frost killed every plant in the parks, like all the beautiful flowers, everything. And in literally overnight, they replanted everything.
Yeah.
I mean, and they had little signs everywhere. Jack Frost was here, whatever. But that was the only time I ever experienced really low temperatures in Florida.
Yeah, it's amazing when my son races BMX down there. We travel down there for
Yeah.
that. They've actually been canceling races on the weekends because well, it's only 45 degrees at night. And of course, we go to Tri-City over in Schenectady into November.
Yeah.
And my son's like, Dad, it's not that bad. I'm like, true, but he also raced in Sarasota when it was 101.
Yep.
So it's the old saying that the Northeast makes hardier people when it comes to weather. They do.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of being hardy.
I know.
I'm
I'm
really
with you.
tired of
I'm
being
with
hardy.
you.
I'm sick of it.
There's something to be said for saying, you know what, been there, done that.
Yeah.
Where's my reward? So, a friend of ours, Denise, she's commenting, but it's not showing up on the main feed. So she just wanted to say, watching live podcast, love her hair. That's Cara's
Thank
hair.
you.
Cara's hair. and she wants to try those patches.
Yes,
Hell
we'll get
yeah.
in touch with you. We
We'll-
certainly will.
We'll be in touch with you. Susan Lily Robert says, all my best in Florida to you, George. Jake Watkins says, yay, Soma Di Nicola, best candles around. Of course they are. Aaron Gardner, our favorite police officer, says, good luck, George. Best of luck. Your spot at the underground will be missed.
Mhm.
See you in Florida. Hey, Aaron, you want to rent a space at the Allendale Underground?
I am going to miss doing coffee with a cop every year. I
Yeah.
used to love doing that,
Yeah.
and when the new chief came in, we did coffee with a cop down at Currency, and it was great.
Yeah.
The community turned out, and that was one thing that surprised me because of our location. I didn't know how community was really going to turn out. And we did Santa a couple times
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's a big deal.
this year, and I haven't said anything about it publicly. The first time Santa came, which was Small Business Saturday,
Mhm.
um, we did 1,000 people that day came in to see
Wow.
Santa. That's kids and adults combined, which blew our minds.
Which,
Yeah.
because if you get in the Berkshires, if you get 100 people
Yeah.
to an event, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah.
When you get 1,000 people
Yeah.
to an event, that's a
That's huge.
major
And then
Yeah.
we had them back on
Thanks.
December 16th, and we did another 600.
Mm.
And the gentleman who is Santa, hide the kids so you don't want to hear this. So his real name is Nicholas, which is even better.
Cool.
But Nick also does Stuyvesant Plaza, City of Saratoga.
Mm.
He's a well-known real beard Santa.
Mhm.
And he told me after both these, he goes, George, I've done malls for 20, 25 years. This doesn't happen in malls.
No kidding.
He says,
Wow.
so I think our secret sauce was it's free.
Yes.
Now, if you want to, bring a toy for Toys for Tots,
Mhm.
Mhm.
please.
Sure.
So yeah, we did that. And
Case study right there.
yeah, and the first one, so the Small Business Saturday, we filled boxes for Toys for Tots.
Mhm.
Well, the second one came along and Toys for Tots was done. People brought them anyway.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, Hillcrest School, they came and took them all for the kids.
Oh, good.
So we're like, what are we going to do with these toys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine works over there and she's like, we need
Oh,
these.
yeah.
Mm.
Great, take them. So it helped both ways, and being civic minded is important, but without a good business behind it, it doesn't last.
Yeah.
Right.
But having Santa come, it reminded me when growing up in Schenectady, my dad had a clothing store there, and Santa always came on the Christmas parade.
Yep.
They did the biggest nighttime Christmas parade in the nation was in Schenectady back in the day, up until a couple of years ago. And Santa came, and of course, and then he went to all the stores, that weekend, and it was special every year. And Pittsfield misses this. The
They
city has
do.
missed it.
There aren't
How-
many places
well,
that have Santa
But no,
right now.
but not just that. Santa that doesn't cost you anything.
Right.
I can put the kid on the lap, take out the cell phone, take 16 photos,
Exactly.
leave.
Yeah.
I'm not committed for, well, it's $30 or $10.
Yeah.
Why?
Mm-hmm.
It's Santa.
Yeah.
A city like Pittsfield really should be able to take a bigger look at this. How is a small little coffee shop in a basement in a strip mall in
Right.
Pittsfield bringing in 1,000 people, and the city can't do that over 2 hours?
Yeah.
There's a problem.
Eileen,
Sorry, this is.
Yeah.
you
no,
guys
no,
want to
I'm
know
going to
this.
continue on this. Eileen Rockefeller says, all the best. Sarasota is the best. You'll do great there. We'll stop by when we're there.
Excellent.
Jake Watkins says, newcomer to the Berkshires, moved from Lowell. Sorry to have missed your spot, George. Best of luck to you in Sarasota. And yes, Florida cold is cold. Blame the humidity. Cold. Cara, we talked about this.
Yeah.
There is no reason that Pittsfield, Massachusetts cannot be small town Christmas America. Like
It's true.
there are ways to do it. There's this park in New York City. I can't remember the name of the park, but they actually they ship in Christmas. They
Mhm.
bring in an ice skating rink, and there's a fee to it, right? There are these vendors that do it. But you can build on that with the commitment of the community. And really, when you look in the wintertime, there is a vacuum of an opportunity with the Berkshires being a tourist centered location anyway, and a place that wants to be great for your residents. There's no reason why downtown Pittsfield can't be the home of hometown America Christmas.
It's true.
It really is. And you know,
Yeah.
not to be, you
Yeah.
know, all holidays, I guess, but like Christmas,
Yeah.
especially, you know.
And it's more the feel of it. It's more, bringing the community together and having things to look forward to.
Mhm.
It's important. Like when we went to Portsmouth and we just happened upon the ice skating rink. We didn't know that there was an ice skating rink. We were walking through and went through an alleyway, and then it opened up to this adorable outdoor skating rink.
It was amazing.
And
was
there
magical.
were no bells and whistles really, but they had a little shop for coffee. They had a place where you could rent the skates. It was easy, and we went ice skating.
It
It
was
was
awesome.
so fun.
Yeah, and
And it was just in a field.
I hadn't been ice skating in probably 40 years.
Wow.
And so Melissa Rockefeller Hill says Rockefeller Center.
Yeah.
Oh,
And she sponsors it.
yeah, we could do that. We could do that. But you know, but those are the things. I think there is a hole, which means there's a missing opportunity there. I think here
Yeah.
in the Berkshires and in
Huge
Pittsfield
opportunity.
specifically.
Mhm.
I mean, I think Pittsfield's actually been very lucky because here we are in the Berkshires. You talk holidays. Well, Stockbridge,
Right.
Red Lion Inn. I mean,
Yep.
how
Of
many
course.
Norman Rockwell paintings do we need from Stockbridge?
Right.
And they've never capitalized on it
I
in the
know
past
it.
30
I
years.
know. I know.
So are we incapable? Maybe, maybe not. Is there the will? Maybe, maybe not. But from a guy who has the location we're in, if I can bring 1,600 people into a basement into this town in 2 days, don't tell me it can't be done.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't tell me you can't build an ice rink outside,
Right.
have local vendors pop up tents and do
Mhm.
pop-ups, or maybe even something as simple as food trucks.
Yeah.
Do all that multiple weekends from, I don't know, second weekend of December through mid-January.
Right.
We all know classical tents, right? They
Mhm.
go to Boston and they help set up all these outdoor skating rinks and tents and all that
Mhm.
in downtown Boston. They do that every year.
Mm.
You know, Cass told me about that numerous times. Are you telling me we can't somehow look at local expertise
Mhm.
Yeah.
and find a way to do this?
Right.
You know, with everything else going on in this city that quote unquote should be going on.
Yeah.
Right.
We are rich and should be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We have done none of there's no, well, we did this. The only
Yeah.
thing we did is not do.
And so it is Bryant Park, which I was thinking. So there is and it's sponsored. It's a Bank of America Winter Village. And
Paul John Bissell.
they literally they literally bring in Christmas.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so and what happens is just like anything, when
Mhm.
you do that, it brings more business around it. It helps
Right.
the businesses that are there,
Right.
but then it draws pop-up stores and it draws
Right.
more activity. And if you're bringing people to that space, there's going to be more business there.
And we have no nightlife in this town.
Mhm.
There's no nightlife in the Berkshires, really, let's be honest. And if we want to do that, that kind of thing will bring in nightlife. You'll have people coming in to skate at night. You'll have people coming in to do these things. Because
Right.
let's face it, it's winter. It gets dark at, I don't know, 3.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
but you know what I'm saying.
Mhm.
It gives us greater opportunity.
Mhm.
But as a community, we have to lean on, the Graylocks, the Berkshire Banks, all these other companies. Say, look, you're here.
Mhm.
You say you care about here. Well, let's do this.
Yeah.
Even Milltown Capital, they've done a great job with Bosque and other projects.
Right.
They still could do more locally.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah. So Susan Lily Roberts says great way to utilize the common. Although my idea would be to have it on that open space in front of St. Joe's Church because then Dottie's is nearby, that sort of thing. Bigger town Christmas tree would help the mood, said Melissa Rockefeller Hill. Oh, God
Yeah.
forbid. Talk about the baby Christmas tree.
Right.
My God, don't you dare talk about that. You're negative if you do. Chelsea Porter says, I'm going to miss the iced fluffernutter latte so much.
yeah, a lot
Uh,
of people have said that.
Come on
And,
now.
and by the way, if you really want a great meme to do, we need to get everybody to dress up because since I have no hair, we need to do the Charlie Brown Christmas characters dressed up around the tree.
Yes.
So just make it fun. Parting shots. I said I wouldn't say most of these things. I was over the state line, but what the hell? No, it's coming from where I did in Schenectady to here.
Hmm.
I saw a lot of lessons in that town that Pittsfield has never learned. We were the GE town, almost 90,000 employees working 3 shifts. I mean, that alone.
Mhm.
I know we had 15,000 here at one time, so that was half of one shift,
Mm.
and we lost all that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I've seen a city just empty and then come back,
Yeah,
but you have to
they
have
did
the
it.
financial and the political will to
You
do
gotta have
it.
political will.
Right.
And they did what this town's not willing to do. And unfortunately, we're in for, more of the same. That's what the city wanted.
Mhm.
That's what they're going to get. That's,
Mhm.
and it's interesting seeing how things are working around here. When going back to one of those interviews I did for the paper, the amount of money that we spend here in the Northeast to just exist
Yep.
is
Mhm.
just,
Right.
it's astronomical.
The existence cost.
Right. We're standing here paying our sales, property, excise, income, blah, 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 all the way down the line, right?
Mhm.
Well, we can take some of those out if you go south, like state income tax, excise tax,
Yep.
60% of your property tax. Oh, what else? Oh, if you own a business, I mean, like this microphone, this is very nice. How much they tax you on this?
I know.
Yes.
That doesn't exist anymore.
It's so funny because every once in a while we'll be on the air and someone from the city will slip a tax bill into the door over
Yes.
here while I'm on the air, and I always wonder, I'm like, what the hell is that for? Because they estimate that you have equipment, and so they say, oh well, your equipment is worth X amount.
Oh, they did that to me.
How they know how much my equipment is, I have no idea.
Right.
But you get this bill.
Right.
And this was something that it was a letter to the editor one time from a gentleman who lived in one of the condos, I think near Bosque,
Mhm.
who was astonished that he was getting this bill for stuff that was in his condominium. And he's like, how do they even know?
Right.
It was wild. And I think it shocked a lot of people.
I mean, if you are a 2-income family, you own your home here. If you let's say you have a couple cars that are 3 years old,
Hmm.
moving to Florida, you might save $10,000.
Yeah.
That's not a small number.
Sure.
Now throw in all the business taxes.
Hmm.
God forbid you have equipment like tractor trailers, vehicles, anything that go along with the business. Well, you pay excise and you pay the other tax.
Right.
So, John, you and I talked about.
George just
Yeah.
George just got really just depressed right there.
No.
No,
You know what? It's a thing because I remember when we had the restaurant, we had I don't know, maybe 4 TVs around the bar. And we could seat a certain amount, maybe about 100 people, not even, maybe like 75 people up around the bar.
Okay.
The whole restaurant could fit about 250, 260 people, but around the bar it was like 100 or so. We got charged for cable. We got taxed. We got charged for cable based on the
Occupancy.
265 seats.
Yeah.
We got, I had somebody for the music hounding me because, oh my gosh, like every single day, I'm like, every time you turned around, it was a tax, a fee, something. And you just bleed money. So at that point, it was just like,
Yeah.
we're done.
By the way, Soma says, I feel like there isn't enough population to self-sustain many things in 2024. What I would say to that is that we are a community that benefits from tourism. So when you build it, they can come.
Right.
Look at Namkeg in the wintertime. That's done a pretty darn good job, recreating something in the winter that makes that property of value. You would that was creativity. The Mount did the same thing.
Yeah.
With the lights. So I mean, there are creative things that you can do, build it, and they will come. And I think, I'm sure out of those 1,000 people that came to Currency Coffee that day, they weren't all from Pittsfield. They weren't all from the Allendale neighborhood,
Oh,
they came from all over the place, I'm sure.
I'll tell you where they came from. We have people coming from Brattleboro,
Mhm.
Greenfield, Hudson,
Yep.
Worcester. I mean, coming from not a short drive. Number one, yeah, we advertise on Facebook and people found us. Fantastic. But most of these people heard from friends of friends and they wanted Santa. No malls had a Santa that they wanted to go see. So yeah, if you build it, they will come. Unless you're in Dalton, because then if you do a Halloween thing, then your neighbors are going to complain and get you thrown out of that.
But we digress.
But other than that, no, John, I told you I'm a bomb thrower. I'm not going to hold back. Not now. Not now.
By the way, Ari Shoemaker
Oh God.
says, "Proud of you, Dad."
Uh,
That's
Good kid.
George's daughter.
He's a good kid.
Carla Prendergast said, "Love the hometown Christmas idea." So good ideas. People thinking that is a good idea. Jean Thibodeau says, "As much as I know you will be missed up there, I'm excited for you to come here to Florida and grow even bigger." So I'm assuming Jean is down there in Sarasota.
Yeah.
Uh,
Retired state trooper.
I will make the
Yeah.
trip
From here.
over
Wow.
to the other side from Daytona to see you and have a cup of coffee. So thank you, Gene. I hope you're enjoying the sunshine. And Trish says the mount was awesome. Great time. Pam Elnady says, "George, you are so refreshing." And but
Yeah,
but
it's
but I get what she's saying because George is telling it how it is. And listen, it it is difficult to tell it like it is and be in business often, and it's not the easiest thing in the world.
because we're all trying to run it down the middle.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I gave that up a while ago because I'm never going to make everybody happy.
Right.
I have strong opinions. I mean, even during COVID, I don't know if people remember, the state set up a telephone line that you could call if businesses weren't behaving.
Oh,
You
right.
could call and
Right.
report, and
Yeah.
we were reported numerous times. You know
Oh.
why? Because I'd be sitting at my office desk with somebody at their desk, and we were, who knows how far apart. I don't care. Oh my, they don't care about masks. Okay, you know what? You were right. I didn't care. I didn't care. I was in grocery stores stocking shelves all over Massachusetts. I didn't care. Do you know why? Because I didn't want to go out of business and make people go on unemployment.
Right.
I didn't care because we had a vision of where we wanted to be and grow. So yeah, we were up to 8 employees at one time.
Mhm.
We had a vision,
Right.
and the state said we were essential.
Mhm.
Great, I'm going to play by your rules.
Yeah. Yeah. You were. Hey, listen.
And even to the point of
Anything that's coffee's essential.
Yes.
is.
I
Oh my
mean,
gosh.
It
My
is.
gosh, by God, if
I've
liquor
got
stores
coffee
are
right
Yeah, you're right. But I mean, even to
yeah.
the point of when we hosted the mayoral debates,
Mm.
when Mike Daly and we all know him well,
Yeah.
we had you and Karen and the current mayor, and some people they were actually very put off by me interviewing everybody.
And you interviewed all of them.
Right.
You didn't interview
If you
one
remember,
of them or 2 of them.
I asked all of you the same questions,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and it was a point where, and John and I have had plenty of political conversations, and I've really wanted to see this place grow.
Mhm.
And there seems to be this force within the community that just hamstrings everybody
Mhm.
to say, no, you can only go this far
Right.
and no further.
Mhm.
Population can only go this far, but no further.
Mhm.
What was the population of the city at its max? 60 some odd?
65. Yeah, I think
Wow. So in other words, the infrastructure here could handle
it
it,
is.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what I've always said.
but it can't now.
That's what I've always said. It's amazing.
It can't handle it now.
Yeah.
The schools can handle that many. It can't handle them now.
Right.
And as it is, schools are reducing population massively.
Mhm.
I mean, here's something interesting. I told you this before. And this was one of the reasons I think we're in such a big trouble in this community, state overall. So the state budget of Massachusetts, roughly $55 billion a year. And we have just about about 7 million people, give or take. State of Florida, over 21 million people. Their budget, I love this, 109 billion.
Mhm.
And people are like, well, wait a minute, it's so huge. Well, where's our money going?
Right.
And
Mhm.
not only that, and this is the last time I do this because I know John he's
No, no, listen,
I don't
Yeah.
want to
hey,
do this, but there are
in,
reasons why I'm moving, and this is part of it.
Mhm.
So here we are in Pittsfield, one of many school districts, 306 in this state, and we have roughly 899,000, let's call it 900,000 students in all those school districts.
Mhm.
Florida has 3 million kids K through 12
Mhm.
in 67 school districts. Now, some people are probably going, so what? Well, how many superintendents are there in Massachusetts? And they're
a
Right.
whole
making
lot.
more than the superintendents in Florida.
Mhm.
And those superintendents in Florida have 42,000 kids each. Ours have 3,000.
Mhm.
Why are we paying all these bloody superintendents this money?
Exactly. So
Mhm.
when you look at the cost of administration
Oh,
per student, and
yes.
that's, so, earlier, not too long ago, when we were talking about sharing services with other school districts,
Yes.
that's the step forward to
Right.
start saying, hey, we got to start looking at this and more intelligently, especially in Berkshire County, has something like 13 or 14 different school or superintendents and school districts and all that. Why in the world are there so many administration people when the number of students continues to decline? So it's painfully obvious that that you have to make some of these changes, but those changes actually lead to better results as well, because what you're doing is shifting more dollars where it counts. That
Mhm.
is to teachers. But I think we have a teacher in the room as
Yes.
well
Yeah.
well. So having
Hey, look,
you know
I have to
have
go home and you know my wife and what she does, and I don't get any freebies on this.
Yeah.
So that for sure is an issue. Speaking of education, Melissa Fawcett, our dear friend, says we
Uh,
have lots of out of town people at Ready Set Play. We are getting New Yorkers, Vermonters, and a lot of Central Mass folks. So there you
Case
go.
in point.
Build it, and they will
Yes.
come.
Yes.
So don't talk about with all due respect, about the lack of population here or whatever. If you have a business that draws
mhm.
people in the heart of the Berkshires, and the Berkshires is a draw, should be, then that's a possibility for growth.
Yes.
And don't you remember that day we were we were here, we were in the lobby of this building, and there was a couple that happened to walk in, and they're kind of looking around, and it was maybe 10 o'clock in the morning on a
Mhm.
Saturday
Yeah.
or a Sunday,
Yeah.
and they were looking for anything to
Anything.
do
They said we came to
from
Pittsfield.
Albany.
We drove here because we just wanted to check out Pittsfield. They had nothing else to do. So what did they do? They got a coffee. So we said, well, you can go to maybe Marketplace and get a coffee, or Dottie's and get a coffee. They're like, we already did that.
Yep.
Anything else? And we're sitting there. We're like, oh my God,
Yeah.
we don't know where else to. Well, Witch Slapped. Oh yeah, we
We
popped into
sent him
Witch
to
Slap.
Witch Slapped. We sent him to
Um,
Soma's.
yeah, but there isn't that experience.
Right.
And so that's what we don't have. If you go to Northampton, there's an experience. You
Right.
don't need to go there for something. Saratoga, you don't need to go there for something. You can park and you can walk
Right.
and experience what is up next.
Yeah.
Portsmouth, New Hampshire, obviously totally different ball game. I know we're talking apples and oranges to some extent, but we digress. So,
It's culture.
Mhm.
What is the culture of this city?
yeah.
I mean, how do you define Pittsfield's culture? I'd love to know.
Yeah.
How do people that live here, how do you define the culture of this city?
Mm.
We used to be a heavy manufacturing base with, good family values, all that typical stuff. And now that's gone. Okay, so how do we redefine ourselves?
Mm.
Because Stockbridge, they have a culture. Great Barrington does.
Mhm.
North Adams has one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, so how do we as a city, how do you do that?
And Denise says, I'm moving with George. God,
Ah,
everything
I
you're
think we
saying
all want
is
to.
so true.
And that's why John wanted me to run for office.
Anne
I told him
Marie,
not on your
wait,
life.
did I? Anne Marie Preventer says, sorry to see you go. Jessica Hall says, I will miss the lattes at Currency. Best of luck. Trish Descanio says, George, you'll be fantastic there. Happy for you.
Thank you.
Donna Casala says, my favorite coffee and let's see. Oh, it was such a treat on Saturdays,
Yeah.
she said. And Jessica says change will never happen if people don't vote. The turnout for the mayoral election was pathetic. People will complain, but it won't take action. And also we have to make sure that elections are fair
Yes.
and clear. Pam Malnati says, we need to have more people say this out loud.
I am. Now somebody's gonna follow the lead.
Joyce Slater says, George is so right. Exactly the problem with top heavy layers. Yes. Tina Bordeaux, our one of our dear friends, says hi. Deborah Cardarella says downtown Pittsfield is no longer a destination. Hasn't been in a long time, sadly. Yes, that's true. Jessica Hall, the problem is that the good culturally rich things to do are very expensive. Good point there, but when it's free, it's not
Mhm.
expensive. So I can imagine a layered approach to that. So for example, if you were going to have your winter village in downtown Pittsfield, there's a lot of ways that you can make it more accessible to those locally, and then have the sort of higher end choices as it relates to different things in the vicinity. I mean, so you have different layers. You have
Right.
a higher cost for some activities, but then like the ice skating, well, okay, let's make it really affordable
Right.
Yeah.
for
Little Boy and
for
Girls Club,
everyone.
they do they do open skating there.
Right.
Yeah.
They have all that. What would it take to partner with them? Because it seems like they have some of the infrastructure
Mhm.
to do like I said,
Yep.
do it by St. Joe's. You can build a rink on any surface for the most part.
Right.
I mean, they do it in Fenway Park, for God's sakes. They can do it in Pittsfield.
You
Right.
betcha.
So we have some of those tools available to us. But not only that, though, why isn't and look, and downtown Pittsfield has always been very important to people.
Mhm.
I grew up in a city where downtown was extremely important. And I know that downtown Pittsfield has its own cheerleading squad, as I like to call it, and they do their job and it's
Mhm.
fine. When John was running and I was talking to the other mayoral candidates, I kept telling them one thing, like, well, what can we do? And I think John knows the quote, stay out of our way.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Just let us
Yeah.
do what we're doing
Right.
and stay out of our way.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And Ronald Reagan had one of the great lines, the scariest words in the world, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
Yeah.
No, we don't want your help. We know what we're doing.
Yeah, and no one's saying that you don't have to follow codes, right?
No.
So
Right.
follow the codes, but like make it business friendly so that you're working with them and generally laying it out and saying, hey, look, you got to make sure the door is done this way. It has to swing this way. You have 30 days to do that. I'm sure you'll have no problem, and make it very clear.
Right.
Don't come in and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, business owner. If you don't know the building code, tough luck. You're going to have to hire somebody and come up with a plan, and then I'm going to come back 30 days later
Right.
and look for everything you did wrong and push it out another 30 days and make it impossible for you to open." This happens all the time
And maybe you
in
can't even
Pittsfield,
operate while you're doing
Massachusetts.
it.
Well, you can't. Well, that's a lot. I mean, I remember our restaurant. We had trouble, and that was way back in 2010. Um, and we were losing money by the day
Mhm.
because we
You
had
couldn't
to
open.
we couldn't open. We had to have certificates for this, that, and the other thing, and it was just like, oh my gosh, and we were right in the height of summer season.
Hmm.
Just, so yeah.
Yeah. So Tina Bordeaux says your voice cannot be heard. If you say nothing, our voices count. Speak up and speak loud. Pam Malnati says, where has all the weed revenue gone? Well,
Mm.
Melissa Rockefeller Hill says, for the up and smoke. For George says, for the love of all things holy, Cheshire made a skating rink behind the old elementary school for people to use for free. And we
Wow.
have a bigger tree. Small town Cheshire. We care about
I
our
free
people.
envy.
Okay,
Okay.
so it's free envy.
Yeah.
Oh, too much.
It's funny, these stories that people tell you,
Yeah.
all these other small towns up and down that Route 7, Route 8 corridor, everybody has their story. And again, we talk about community around here. Everybody loves to talk about community.
Mhm.
We're a county, right?
Yeah.
Now, coming from New York, counties have stronger governments, but it seems like every little fiefdom through here fights for their own little, niche, and they keep forgetting that it's a bigger element.
Mhm.
I've talked with people in the educational world. no names. They said, the best thing for Berkshire County would have 4 school districts:
Mhm.
Pittsfield, North, Central, South.
That's right. Yeah.
Why do we have 12, 13 now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But again, it's all these great things.
And you can take best practices from the best things that different districts are doing
Yeah.
and bring that together and say, wow, we can take the best of the best and really make some powerful school districts that are really high performing. You can do that with the political will, but there you go.
Yeah,
So
it's unfortunate.
it is,
But
but
yeah,
yeah,
it's the old saying, I've come to bury Caesar, not to praise him,
Mhm.
and we've forgotten that sometimes we have to put down these things that just don't work.
Mhm.
We keep forgetting that.
Mhm.
That's how we always used to do it. How many times have you heard that in education?
Yeah.
Well, that's how we've always done it.
Yeah,
How many times have you heard that in city government? Well,
Yeah.
that's how we always do it.
yeah,
Then stop.
yeah.
Right.
Well,
Please.
I did see
Right.
an infographic on Instagram that said, boom, 2019, highest number of teacher retirements ever.
Yeah.
2020, the highest number of teacher. It eclipsed 2019. 2021, the highest number of resignations. It didn't even say retirements, it said
Yeah.
resignations
Yeah.
actually. And then 22 and 23. And so each year
It's a new
has
record.
so people are leaving that profession in droves.
Right.
It makes you say, why?
Well, they're
and
leaving for
ask
so many
why.
reasons.
Yeah.
You live it.
Oh, yeah.
But you think about, I mean, look in the Albany area, St. Rose College,
Mm-hmm.
one of the greater educational institutions that turned out thousands of teachers over
Yep.
the years. They're done.
Yeah.
Why? Shrinking enrollment.
Mm-hmm.
We've come to a point
Talk
now.
about your canaries in the coal mine.
Right.
Yes.
And
Right.
not just that, we've also had, and there's always these arguments about certifications. Do you need a bachelor's? Do you need a master's to teach? Do you need a doctorate to teach? What do you need? How do we license? Do we license? Should we license?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of these questions because some great private schools, bachelor's degrees, and they have some phenomenal teachers.
Right.
They don't have masters, they don't have all the other things, but yet they're doing it.
Mm,
Okay, but can those people leave there and go to the public school? Absolutely not.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Why?
Yeah.
It's like nurses that get out of the army or get out of the armed services. Now, if someone was a nurse in the army for 8 years, they can't go to BMC and work. They have to go through
Right.
nursing school. They have to do,
Yeah.
Yeah.
what are we doing?
Yeah.
We're killing ourselves.
And Tina Bordeaux,
Yeah.
who's an educator herself, says education is big and much needed for many. And Jessica Hall said teachers and aides are also not paid a fair wage for what is expected out of them. And I want to highlight that part, expected out of them. The district is top heavy, she says also, but about wages. Now, paras are definitely underpaid.
Right.
Teachers,
Right.
there's a whole scale of how teachers are paid. I don't
Mhm.
necessarily agree on how it all works.
Right.
I think merit is really important. However, how do you measure that? But all that aside, what she says is what's expected out of them. So I
Mhm.
think what one thing that has dramatically changed is now the teachers are doing the kind of work that they didn't go into teaching
No.
for. Teachers didn't go to school to teach to have to be masters of restraint training. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So, and I don't know why I'm talking. Car's the teacher.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
it's
But
different. It's very different now. Very different. And I'm happy that I became a teacher and I'm thrilled with my career, but I think if I were a young person today, I think I would think twice
right.
with the way things are.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I
absolutely.
know.
But I had in 23 years, there were years where it was wonderful and great. And I love all my students. That'll never change. I love the kids.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, there's just so much.
And we
It's
hear
so
it all
different.
the time.
Yeah.
We hear it all the time
Mhm.
from her. And, so there's something you can never take away from teachers,
Yeah.
the impact they have on lives. And Rebecca Breen chimes in. One of our city councilors recently posted this information about where has all the weed revenue gone. She'll see if she can find it. So go to it, Rebecca. Go to it. So Tina Bordeaux, I agree 100% with Jessica Hall. So there you go. So we've covered some ground here.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But most important, we want to send George off with well wishes. I feel like I should have like a basket of flowers or something for him. Jesus, I mean,
No, listen,
like,
this is-
you know, but a big coffee mug that says "We love you" or
Yeah.
something. But George, yeah, I mean, we
It's been a
we
fun
wish you the
ride.
very best. Tell
Yeah.
It's been a fun ride. Look, from pandemic to success
Mm-hmm.
to whatever. I mean, it's eventually sometimes you have to leave home.
Yeah.
And Pittsfield's been very good to us. I feel like that Saturday Night Live skit, baseball been very, very good to me. You know, but Pittsfield has been very generous and very good to us.
Yeah.
And I couldn't be happier. So you know, when you want to seek some warmth, some sunshine,
Yes.
and get another great cup of coffee, it's only 1,300 miles.
And you know, gosh, we could do a whole episode on online business, but you have really created a really solid online business, and that is going to be the opportunity for people to continue to get their
Yes.
favorite coffee. But that was something you built out, and
That's
will
what we
continue.
started with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And people will be able to order the coffee online.
Currencycoffee.com.
there you go. There you go. So, and Tina Bordeaux says, George, haven't had the pleasure to meet you, but I wish you all the best and on to better and bigger things. And Denise Marie says, I'll see you soon, George. So,
Excellent.
so we can definitely end on that. So, George, hey, we love you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You know, you
Thank
tell
you
it like
for
it
all that you
is.
did.
You've
It
always
was
been
great.
good to us,
Mhm.
and you're a good businessman. You care about the community,
Thank you.
and you have a
And we're
wonderful
gonna come
family.
visit.
And hell yeah.
Yeah.
No,
do.
that's a promise.
Yes.
Siesta Key Beach, best in the world.
I love it. So, well, everyone have a great night. And again, we'll let everyone know on the winners of the bag of coffee and also the Soma candle and for our private group, the Parkleen jewelry. So, everyone, we wish the best and a great show tonight, everyone.
Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thanks for chiming in.